How you furnish your Airbnb or short-term rental property can be absolutely make or break for your property's ultimate performance and the amount of profit you make off of that property. Simple design changes and furnishing changes and additional amenities can yield massive returns on the investment that you make into them. This is probably one of the areas of short-term rental investing, co-hosting, hosting your own space that can lead to the biggest payoffs with the least amount of initial investment. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my step-by-step A to Z process for exactly how to furnish a short-term rental property. I'm going to walk you through how I do my research on a market to figure out exactly which amenities and what type of style to go with for a property. I'm going to share with you my entire process for ideating the whole design and coming up with the right design plan for the property. I'm then going to share with you exactly how I go about sourcing all the different pieces of furniture, from every single bed and bed frame to the linens to the cutlery, everything. I'm going to share with you my process for organizing everything, all the different hundreds and hundreds of different items that I'm going to be purchasing for a property. And ultimately, I'm going to show you and share with you my whole process for exactly how to actually execute on that whole plan. Buy everything, get it all set up, get it ready to go without me having to physically go by and assemble every single little piece of furniture and organize it all myself. So the goal in this video is going to be to share with you absolutely everything that you need to know in order to successfully come up with a design, execute on it, and get that property ready for photography and ready to perform at its absolute peak potential, so that you're not leaving money on the table, but also not wasting a bunch of money on potential mistakes, things that you shouldn't do, or things you shouldn't be spending money on when it comes to your furnishing and design. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. And a quick reminder before we do is that if you want to get all the different tools, resources, and more in-depth training on my whole process for this and everything else to do with Airbnb and short-term rental performance and making things more profitable and a lot more fun, then check out BNB Tribe. It's going to be linked in the description down below. We've got all kinds of trainings and an incredible community, all kinds of deals and discounts, and you can join right now at the time of this video for about $49 per month. It is incredibly affordable. We tried to make it as affordable as possible so that you could literally pay off your entire year's membership with, just basically one additional booking on your property. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Link is in the description down below. Now, let's start by talking about how you figure out which amenities and what style to go with for your property. Now, a lot of people would think that what you want to do is just, play to your specific style, whatever you like for a property. And although you certainly can do that, and you may decide to, if it's more of a lifestyle asset, a property that you are going to be frequently visiting yourself and that you're just kind of renting it short term on the side to make some extra income, it's generally not going to be the most optimal way to furnish your property. What you'd rather do is give your guests what they want, because that's going to allow you to collect higher nightly rates and collect a higher occupancy rate on your property. So the question is then, how do you decide what guests want? Well, the best way that I found to do this is to go and look at the properties that guests want the most and get inspiration from those. So you'll want to grab a subscription to a platform like AirDNA, where you can go and check out all the different high-performing listings in your area. One of the things I like to do is go onto AirDNA, look for other similar properties to mine in my area, and when you go and look at the whole list of all the different listings, I like to sort by revenue. This is going to tell me which properties are the highest performing from a revenue perspective, and then I can look through them to find any commonalities. So for example, if every single one of those high-performing properties has a sort of movie theater setup with a projector and a big comfy couch, or maybe they all have ping pong tables or a hot tub in the backyard, this is going to give me really good inspiration for what types of amenities are most desirable in properties, which ones guests choose the most and pay the most for. So that's going to be one really great starting point. The other thing you can do is use a tool like Price Labs, which will allow you, with their market dashboards where you can see all the performance of the properties around you, you can actually go in and see amenity by amenity exactly which ones are in the most demand relative to the amount of supply. So if you can start offering some amenities that not as many other hosts have, but the guests really do like and want to book with you, then that's going to set you apart from the competition and allow you to get better performance out of your listing. So that's a really good starting point for some of those bigger ticket or more important amenities. But then what about gathering inspiration for your actual design? Well, if there's a specific theme that most properties that are high performers tend to cater to, then you want to be mindful of that. For example, there are some markets that do really, really well with like a cottage cabin-y type feel, log homes, lots of kind of more rustic type of design. And so you don't want to have an ultra modern property necessarily that doesn't have any of that kind of rustic charm in a market like that, whereas you may want to have a more modern, less rustic property in a different market. Or some other markets, like the markets around Disneyland, tend to have a lot of themed properties. And that's kind of the bare minimum that it takes to perform in those markets, is to have a really cool Disney themed property. So you want to be mindful of that. And then once you have the general theme, what I recommend is either working with a professional interior design firm. One of the ones that I really recommend to people is called Summerlin Design, because they actually specialize in working with short-term rental investors and hosts. And they really have a keen eye for what performs well on Airbnb and short-term rental. If you're not going to do that route and you're going to go ahead and do it yourself, then what I recommend is, if you're not super design savvy yourself, you can pretty easily come up with a really good cohesive design by checking out Pinterest. Pinterest is where I personally like to go to get a lot of my design inspiration, because I don't necessarily have a great eye for design and know exactly which things are going to look good together and how to organize an entire living room, find the right coffee table that's going to match with a couch, et cetera, et cetera. But by going to Pinterest, I can search up different rooms that are designed with the theme that I want, whether it's rustic or modern or whatever it might be. And I can then take inspiration from them and find a couch that resembles the couch in that photo, find chairs that resemble those chairs, and use it as my kind of inspiration for the overall design. Now, I don't necessarily recommend actually buying the individual items that are in the photo, because they might not be the most cost-effective options that you're looking for. But in terms of the overall aesthetic design, you can definitely follow that and use that as inspiration at some specific stores that tend to have good, reasonably priced, durable, and good-looking furniture options for short-term rental properties. So some of the sites that I like to shop at the most, or stores that I like to shop at the most, are going to be IKEA, Amazon. In Canada, we have a company called Structube that has a lot of great stuff that looks good, is durable, and is very affordable. Wayfair can be another really great option for getting some of those kind of higher ticket, larger items. You can also find different stuff like bunk bed frame stuff at Walmart. And what you want to do is take your design and start shopping around online. What I'll often do is I'll go and I'll find a couch that I'm looking for. I know I want let's say a beige couch. Well, now I'll go and shop around to try to find one of those beige couches that's reasonably priced at one of those stores. And I'll take a screenshot of the image and overlay it onto my design. I'll put my design photo, the inspiration photo, on a slide, whether that's in Canva or in PowerPoint, whatever you want to use. And then I'll put all the different furniture items, pictures of them, in that kind of mood board that I've got to make sure everything is actually looking good together. At the same time, as I find those items, I'm going to record them in a spreadsheet. So we have a whole interior design tracking spreadsheet that we use to keep track of every single item that we need, so we can list it out from the photo and make sure we have everything. Then we could track all the different links to the actual products that we find that match that design, so we can keep track of that when it comes time to ordering. And we can input all the details like how many we need, the price of them, everything we need to keep track of the budget. That's really, really important as well. You want to make sure that you go into your design initially with a budget in mind of what you're trying to stick to for the property. And then what you can do is, once you've gone through every different room and you've found all the different items, I don't worry too much about sticking on budget at this point. I want to make sure I'm not shopping at unreasonably expensive stores. So to a certain extent, I am mindful of the prices of things, but I'm not really being a stickler on budget right yet. What I'll do is put the entire design together in this spreadsheet and see where I come out relative to my budget. If I'm at or under my budget, great. I can just go ahead and move on to the next phase of actually organizing the ordering of all these products. But if I am over budget, then what I really want to do at that stage is going to be look at any of the high ticket items, things like couches, things like mattresses, things like bed frames. Maybe I'm buying a hot tub or a sauna, and I want to try to reduce the cost of some of those higher ticket items. Because if you try to narrow down your budget and tighten it up by trying to buy less expensive forks and knives, it's going to take a lot of work to make a really, really small difference on budget. Whereas if you take something like a couch that you were going to spend $1,500 for and you can find it for $1,000, you can pretty easily pick up $500 there. You can also look at the option of buying some of these things secondhand. You can go to different thrifting stores. You can go on Facebook Marketplace. You can look for different options to buy that stuff secondhand, which for the larger ticket items can usually reduce your cost by about 50%. So there can be some really great cost savings there. What I don't want to do is eliminate certain amenities. What I see people doing all the time is they put together this big budget and then they end up being over budget and just cutting off the hot tub because they were $5,000 over budget. Well, what if we instead went with a secondhand hot tub that we can still get for $2,000 or $3,000, and then we could find other areas of the budget to reduce to pick up that extra $2,000 to $3,000, and now we still have that really great desirable amenity that's going to attract guests, get higher nightly rates, get more occupancy rate, as opposed to having that hot tub be gone and then having nicer couches, nicer amenities, things like that, that aren't actually going to lead to higher nightly rates or higher occupancy rates. You really want to prioritize amenities over all else. That's not to say that you can throw styling out the window and make it totally bland and unappealing, but you do want to balance things. You don't want to just cut off things that are expensive because they're expensive. If they're worthwhile having, they're worthwhile having. There's areas where you can reduce the budget that are going to be more effective or less effective. So now that we've got everything all picked out, we've got every different item lined up, we budgeted it, it's within budget. Now comes the fun part of actually ordering this stuff. Are you a brand new or experienced Airbnb host, co-host, or investor who wants to host as successfully, as profitably, and with as much fun as possible? If so, then I would love to invite you to check out BNB Tribe, linked in the description down below this video. It's our exclusive community for Airbnb hosts, investors, and co-hosts from all over the world, where I share some of my best trainings that go into detail on every single aspect of Airbnb hosting from A to Z. We've got advanced training playbooks that will help you to use more advanced strategies to take things to the next level and make more money and have more fun hosting, co-hosting, or investing on Airbnb. You're also going to get access to an incredible community and over $2,500 worth of deals, perks, discounts, bonuses that I've negotiated with other vendors in the short-term rental industry. So if you want access to all of that and a whole bunch more, check out the link in the description down below for BNB Tribe, and I would love to see you on the inside. And I say fun part tongue in cheek because if you've ever tried to go and order hundreds of different items, it can be a lot of work. You know, you have to fill up your cart and make sure you get everything and make sure you track it meticulously to make sure you're not missing anything. And then comes delivery. Now, a lot of the time you want to go through this whole furnishing and design process before you actually take possession of the property, so that when you take possession of the property, you can put things in. Or if you're renovating the property, once that renovation is complete, you want to have everything ready to go. You don't want to hit the order button right then and now have to wait 1, 2, or 3 weeks for all these different items. So what you want to do instead in a lot of cases is order in advance and find a place to store it in the meantime. Now, if you're a bit more relaxed, you have more time on your hands, and you can afford to wait the extra few weeks, then by all means, wait until the property is actually ready to get things delivered and take delivery of them over time. But if you're looking for maximum efficiency, what I've done in the past is found a unit to actually ship everything to, store it in there, and then once the property is ready, now I can get a moving company to take all of that extra furniture, all that stuff, and just move it all in one foul swoop right over to my property. Now, this is going to add a few $100s of extra moving costs, but in my experience, that tends to be worth it if you can save yourself a couple of weeks of additional bookings. Now that you've got it all delivered comes the somewhat daunting task of actually assembling and getting everything ready. So what you'll want to do is either plan to do this yourself with some friends and make sure you're ready for it. Bring the power tools. Don't be sitting there with all the little wee tools that you get included in the boxes. Bring some power tools and make it more efficient. Or what you can do if you do want to be completely hands off with it is you can hire what I call an IKEA furniture builder. Now, a lot of the times you can actually go in a lot of markets and look for people that specialize in building, whether it's IKEA or Wayfair type of furniture, by going onto sites like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji Kijiji if you're in Canada, and you can find really, really great people that way. Now, the benefit of working with someone like that is that they tend to be so experienced with assembling this stuff that they barely need to use the instructions. They're very, very quick and efficient. So even if you are paying a slightly premium hourly rate to hire this person to come and assemble everything, you tend to come out ahead because they can do things so efficiently and do a really great job of it. So I've had really great experiences there. Now, if you're in a market where you can't find someone who specializes in building furniture and assembling furniture, then what you'll want to do as a backup to that is just hire a general handyman. It's no secret that pretty much anyone can assemble furniture from IKEA or Wayfair or wherever you're ordering it from. You just might be able to find someone much more efficient if they do that kind of all day, every day. But a handyman can be a really great solution as well. What you want to do is make sure you have, again, this is where that detailed spreadsheet is really, really helpful. If you can have an itemized list of exactly what goes in each room, and you can have those actual visual files of exactly what the room should look like, how it should be laid out, that can be really helpful. What you can do as well is just hand draw a quick layout of the room, where the couch should go, where the chairs should go, where everything should be placed, so that you make sure things end up in the right place. What you want to do is have the person assembling your furniture assemble it into the right places, in the right rooms, put everything up, and have them do all of the wall hang as well. So if you're mounting a TV, if you have wall decor like pictures, things like that, make sure they go ahead and mount all of that stuff as well. Get that all ready to go. Then what you'll want to do is have your cleaners come in, and that's typically the person that I have do the staging. Now you can come in yourself at this point as well, but again, for any of those who want to be completely hands-off and really, really embrace being passive and hands-off with this, what you'll want to do is have your cleaner come in. Again, make sure they have really clear, good photos of exactly what the property should look like, how it should all be staged up, and get them to stage everything perfectly. Good chances are your handyman or furniture builder isn't going to know exactly the right way to place the throw blanket to make it look really cozy and inviting for people. So you want to have your cleaner come in, do a whole deep clean of the property to make sure it's spick and span and ready to go for guests, and make sure that they stage the property. Now, once the staging is complete, you can make sure your photographer comes in, which again, you want to coordinate all this stuff in advance to make sure all the timelines line up and you're not wasting a bunch of time between different steps. When the photographer comes in, ideally, you also want to have them bring in, or your cleaning team can bring in advance, some different items for staging the property, like maybe a bowl of popcorn for the movie room, or some wine to put in the glasses to put by the fireplace or at the kitchen table, maybe a spread of vegetables to put out on the counter, different stuff like that. They're going to help to set the mood of the property. Then once your photography is done, you want to use those photos for your listing, but then also make sure that your cleaner has them so that they know exactly how the property should be done up and made ready for guests on a continuous basis. You also want to make sure that any of those additional amenities you might have added, like board games or things that are less obvious, that those get photographed as well as a kind of a bonus tip for photography. Now, we'll have other videos on the channel all about photography and how to master that. And of course, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you want all the in-depth access to all of our detailed training on all this, where we dive even deeper and we actually give you all of our different tools like the design templates and, a list of all the different furniture and amenities and everything that we like the most, that I tend to use in my properties, so that you can just streamline the whole process. If you want to get access to our design organization and tracking spreadsheet to keep track of all this and keep it organized, everything like that, then I highly recommend checking out BNB Tribe. We've got all the training on all that, plus all the other training you could imagine and really ever need for successfully hosting, co-hosting, or investing on short-term rental properties. And so if you're interested in that, check out the link down in the description below. BNB Tribe, it's an amazing community. And in addition to all that, it's just a really great group of people. It's got all the training. It's got all the discounts that we've got from different vendors and service providers, all this different stuff. So check it out, link in the description down below. Now, I hope you really liked this video. I hope you got value from it. If you did, please do me a quick favor and just take half a second to hit that like button down below the video. It really does help me out tremendously with growing this channel, getting these videos in front of more people, and growing our community of incredible Airbnb hosts and co-hosts and investors. So hit that like button if you don't mind taking half a second to help me out and help the channel out. Hit the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the 2 new videos we post every single week here on the channel. You can also hit the notification bell to be notified whenever those new videos drop, so you can be the first to watch them. And with all that being said, other than that, if you have any comments, questions, thoughts for me, share them in the comment section down below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.